Ever had someone ring your doorbell and suddenly your soul whispers, hide under the couch and pretend you're dead? Yeah, welcome to the magical world of introverts, where unexpected visitors feel less like a friendly chat and more like a psychological home invasion. Forget burglars. The real intruder is Aunt Karen showing up unannounced with banana bread. Now, before you start crying into your organic kombucha, let's clear one thing up. You're not antisocial, you're not rude, you're just psychologically allergic to people entering your sacred space. That's not me saying it, that's Carl freaking Jung. You know, the guy who spent this whole life digging through humanity's unconscious only to basically confirm, yeah, people are exhausting. And hey, before we go full therapy session here, do the civilized thing. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me how many times you faked a "sorry I was in the shower" just to avoid answering the door. Don't worry, this is a safe space. Your secrets are as protected here as your locked front door. So today, buckle up, because we're diving deep into Jung's wisdom about why some of us would rather eat glass than entertain visitors. And trust me, once you hear this, you'll never feel guilty again about ghosting your neighbor. You'll feel enlightened, spiritually justified, maybe even holy. Picture this: doorbell rings, normal human reaction, "Yay, company!" Introvert reaction, "God has abandoned me." And while your extroverted cousin thinks visits are like bonus rounds of life, you're over here silently calculating how many minutes until your sanity expires. But wait, there's good news. According to Jung, this has nothing to do with you being a terrible person. Nope, it's because your energy works differently. Extroverts eat chaos for breakfast. They absorb attention the way frat boys absorb tequila shots. Meanwhile, introverts, we recharge from silence. We get high on being alone. Social interaction doesn't fuel us, it drains us faster than a boomer trying to download TikTok. So, when someone invades your living room, it's not a visit, it's psychological robbery. They're not just sitting on your couch, they're stealing your sacred energy. And yes, Karen, your banana bread is delicious, but it doesn't heal my existential despair. Here's the real kicker. The moment that visitor walks in, you're forced to put on your persona, that lovely little social mask Jung talked about. It's basically the human version of Windows loading screen. Fake smile, forced politeness, pretending you don't mind while your soul is screaming internally. And sometimes that person doesn't just annoy you, they activate your shadow. Yeah, Jung's shadow. Sounds mystical, right? But in practice, it means that one casual comment like, "Wow, your place is so quiet," triggers your unresolved childhood trauma from 1998. Congratulations, Brenda. You just opened a psychological wound with small talk. So, the next time you feel guilty about wanting people to leave, remember, it's not rudeness, it's Jungian psychology, baby. You're not saying no to the person, you're saying yes to your soul. You're not antisocial, you're enlightened. You're not rude, you're basically a spiritual hermit on a quest for individuation, which, let's be honest, sounds way cooler than "sorry, I just don't like people." Stick around, because in the next part, we're going to break down exactly why your no visitors policy is less about being a cranky loner and more about becoming a psychological badass. But hey, if you're already exhausted by this intro, don't worry. Jung would totally approve of you slamming the laptop shut and sitting alone in the dark. That's growth. All right, let's get real. You thought this whole not liking visitors thing was just about being cranky, or maybe because you're secretly an asshole, right? Wrong. According to Carl Jung, the grand wizard of psychological tea spilling, there are deeper forces at play here. Yeah, your brain isn't just antisocial, it's busy staging an epic battle between your soul, your shadow, and that fake-ass persona you wear to smile at people you can't stand. So let's break it down.
Because Jung actually gave us 6 reasons why opening the front door feels like opening the gates of hell. First up, you are more sensitive to energy than you realize. Translation? You're basically a human Wi-Fi router picking up everyone else's bad vibes. That friend who shows up and casually dumps their life drama all over your couch? Yeah, you're not just hearing it, you're feeling it. Their unresolved childhood trauma? Their marriage problems? Their weird obsession with crystals? It all sticks to your psychic walls like cigarette smoke in a cheap motel. Jung's point was that introverts pick up on these subtle fields of energy. My point is, no wonder you feel like burning sage and screaming, "Out, demons!" every time someone overstays their welcome. Number 2, your psyche needs space, like actual space. Not just square footage, but silence, stillness, no one breathing near your snacks. Extroverts recharge at parties. You recharge by locking yourself in your bathroom pretending to reorganize the medicine cabinet. Jung saw this not as laziness, but as survival. When a visitor walks into your house, they don't just disrupt the vibe, they bulldoze your fragile mental ecosystem. It's like tossing a raccoon in a Zen garden. You don't get peace, you get chaos. And honestly, who has the energy to clean that up? Not you. You'd rather binge watch Netflix and pretend your phone died. And hey, quick reality check. If you're still here nodding along, clearly your shadow and mine are vibing. So do the healthy thing, hit that like button, subscribe, and let the algorithm know you're choosing inner peace over awkward small talk. Jung would call it individuation. I call it free therapy. Third, constant social interaction alienates you from yourself. And this one's a real kicker. Every polite, "Oh yeah, that's so interesting," every fake laugh at someone's terrible joke, every nod when they tell you about their dog's special diet, it's like you're slowly abandoning your own soul just to keep the conversation alive. Jung believed the true self can only emerge in stillness. But you're too busy pretending to care about Becky's new kombucha recipe to hear your inner voice crying for help. And let's face it, that kombucha tastes like liquid regret anyway. Now, number 4 is where it gets dark. Other people trigger your shadow. Ooh, spooky. No, really, this is where Jung says that the stuff you've buried deep down, the junk drawer of your psyche, gets yanked open by a random comment from a guest. You think you're fine, everything's cool, then someone says, "Oh, I didn't know you still lived here," and bam, you're 12 years old again, feeling like a loser at the lunch table. Your shadow is basically an emotional landmine, and visitors are just casually stomping around your living room, setting it off. And let's be honest, half the time, they don't even know they're doing it. They're sipping your coffee while you're silently having a full-blown existential crisis. Fifth, that urge to withdraw? That's not cowardice, it's the beginning of individuation. Yeah, that big word Jung loved. Basically, it means you're leveling up, turning into the real you, becoming the final boss version of yourself. Society says, go out, be social, attend happy hours, shake hands, smile for the camera. Jung says, nah, sit your ass down in silence until you figure out who the hell you really are. So when you're ignoring texts and building a fortress out of blankets just to keep people out, guess what? You're not a recluse. You're in training. You're basically spiritual Batman, preparing in the shadows for your big reveal. And finally, number 6, you're learning to say no. And honestly, that's the sexiest part. Because every fake smile, every "sure, come by anytime," when you really wanted to scream "absolutely not," is you betraying yourself. Jung argued that when you live in constant persona mode, when you confuse your polite mask for your real soul, you end up miserable, drained, hollow. But when you finally master the art of saying no, oh baby, that's liberation. That's you walking into your villain era, sipping wine in sweatpants while ignoring the doorbell like a goddamn champion. Think about it.
The world is obsessed with being available. Social media wants you online 24/7. Your job wants you to answer emails at midnight, and Karen wants you to listen to her talk about her cats. But your soul? Your soul is whispering, "Please, for the love of God, turn everything off and sit quietly before I implode." And when you listen to that, you're not selfish. You're the only sane person left in this clown parade of constant noise. Now here's the twist most people don't see. Your discomfort with visitors isn't about them. It's about you. Not in the narcissistic "it's always me" way, but in the "holy shit, my soul is actually trying to keep me alive" way. Every time you feel that itch to throw someone out, it's not because you're mean, it's because your unconscious knows what you need. And what you need isn't Karen's banana bread. It's silence. It's solitude. It's staring at the wall until your nervous system resets. That's healing. That's psychology. That's badass. And here's where Jung drops the mic with the archetype of the hermit. Yeah, the guy with the lantern, wandering alone in the dark. Sounds depressing, right? Except it's not. The hermit isn't sad, he's enlightened. He's not lonely, he's wise enough to realize that the only way to hear yourself think is to shut the damn door. The hermit is basically the patron saint of introverts, reminding you that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not show up, not host, not fake smile your way through another exhausting evening. Sometimes the bravest thing is to say, "Nope, I'm good, thanks," and disappear into the blissful abyss of your own peace and quiet. So when someone says, "Wow, you never invite anyone over," don't panic, don't feel guilty, just channel your inner hermit and remember that solitude isn't emptiness, it's fuel. Solitude is where your hidden talents, your suppressed truths, your real self all get a chance to breathe. Jung wasn't telling you to avoid people forever. He was telling you to respect your boundaries, to understand that solitude isn't a prison, it's a workshop. It's where you rebuild, where you recharge, where you stop being the glitching Windows loading screen persona and finally become the full operating system of your soul. And let's be brutally honest here. The world doesn't need you fake smiling through another visit. The world needs you real, raw, whole, which, ironically, requires you to be alone more often than not. Because let's face it, you can't discover your deepest truths while making small talk about the weather. No, you discover them when you're alone, when you're bored, when you're staring into the abyss of your own mind and suddenly realize, oh shit, I'm not broken, I'm just introverted. So yeah, maybe you felt guilty. Maybe you thought, damn, I should probably host more dinners, throw more parties, be more social. But screw that. Jung is basically handing you a hall pass signed by psychology itself. You don't hate people. You're not broken. You're just wired differently. And the next time you lock your door, ignore your phone, and dive into solitude, you can tell yourself this: I'm not being antisocial. I'm practicing individuation. I'm building my inner fortress. I'm leveling up. And if Karen's still outside with her banana bread, well, she'll live. So here we are, the end of the introvert's holy gospel. And if you've made it this far without slamming your laptop shut to go hide under a blanket, congratulations. You're already on the path of individuation. Jung would probably give you a polite nod and then immediately retreat back into his study to avoid eye contact. Let's be honest, solitude has always gotten bad PR. The world worships noise. Loudness equals success. Networking equals opportunity. Parties equal living your best life. And yet, here you are, realizing the best life might actually be you in sweatpants, eating cold pizza in silence while everyone else is busy pretending to enjoy conversations about tax season. If solitude were a product, Amazon would slap life-changing on it and charge $299 for shipping. And here's the real punchline. Solitude isn't running away. It isn't you being broken.
It isn't even you being antisocial. It's you reclaiming oxygen from the chaos of humanity. Because when Jung talked about individuation, about becoming whole, becoming the real you, he wasn't talking about joining every Facebook group, RSVPing to every wedding, or forcing small talk in the office kitchen. He was talking about learning to shut the door and actually hear yourself think, which, by the way, is terrifying. You want to know why people hate silence? Because silence talks back. Silence makes you notice the unresolved crap you've been shoving in the basement of your psyche for years. And that's why most people keep cranking up the volume. They'd rather drown in TikTok than face their own shadow. But not you. Oh no. You're different. You're listening. You're realizing that the real flex isn't how many friends you have on Instagram, but how many hours you can sit in peace without wanting to throw your phone out the window. You're realizing that being alone doesn't make you a failure. It makes you free.
free from small talk, free from fake smiles, free from the exhausting performance of being normal. And what is normal anyway? Normal is just a setting on your microwave. Look, let's be clear. I'm not saying become a hermit forever. I'm not saying turn your house into a bunker and communicate only through smoke signals. Even Jung knew balance mattered. He said life is a constant dialogue between your inner world and the outer world. The trick is making sure the outer world doesn't trample the hell out of your inner one. You don't need to disappear. You just need to own the right to say, "Not today, Brenda." Balance is being able to grab a drink with friends without feeling like you need 3 weeks of recovery afterwards. Balance is having 2 meaningful conversations instead of 20 shallow ones. Balance is saying no without guilt and yes without resentment. And here's where the hermit archetype comes full circle. He's not the creepy guy in the woods with 0 social skills. He's the one holding a lantern, showing you that your own inner light only shows up when you stop being distracted by every external circus. The hermit isn't against people, he's just pro-boundaries. He's proof that solitude can be sacred, not sad. And maybe, just maybe, the reason you've always hated visitors isn't because you're cold or rude. Maybe it's because your inner hermit has been patiently tapping on your shoulder, saying, "Hey, genius, you don't need more guests, you need more you." So, the next time someone asks why you never host dinner parties, don't waste time explaining. Just look them dead in the eye and say, "I'm in the middle of a Jungian individuation process." They won't understand, but they'll probably never ask again. And that's a win. Because honestly, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Not society, not your family, not even Karen with her cursed banana bread. And if you're still worried that people will call you antisocial, here's your comeback. Tell them Carl Jung himself said solitude is part of psychological development. They'll either nod politely or back away slowly, but either way, you win. Because the truth is, people will always project their own discomfort onto your boundaries. They'll say you're weird, selfish, or distant. But here's the mic drop. Protecting your peace is never selfish. It's survival. It's maturity. It's the highest form of self-love. Now, let's wrap this up with some tough love. The world will keep telling you to show up, to be available, to keep the door open. And you need to master the art of closing it. Not forever, just when your soul demands it. Because every time you betray yourself to make someone else comfortable, you lose a little bit of who you really are. And frankly, the world doesn't need another watered-down people-pleasing robot. The world needs the real you, the one who can sit in silence, face the shadow, and come back stronger. So, here's your permission slip, signed by Jung and notarized by me. You don't have to host visitors if you don't want to. You don't have to pick up the phone. You don't have to explain yourself. Your solitude isn't an apology. It's a declaration. You're not hiding. You're healing. You're not antisocial.
You're individuating. You're not rude. You're wise. And if anyone still doesn't get it, well, maybe they're just jealous you figured it out first. And hey, if you survived this video without bolting for the safety of your bed, you clearly belong here. So do the introvert-approved move. Hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me your best excuse for dodging visitors. Don't worry, this is judgment-free. We're all in the same boat, rowing quietly, avoiding eye contact, and pretending we didn't hear the doorbell. Because at the end of the day, Jung didn't just give us psychology, he gave us validation. He gave us permission. And if that's not worth a thumbs up and a subscribe, I don't know what is.